Good morning. It's Sunday, February 2nd, and this is, sorry, nose itch. Don't worry, I'm on the outside. A Course in Miracles, lesson 32. It says, by the way, this is not comfortable. Squeaky bed. So squeaky. I fell asleep in my clothes last night. Really early. Oops, but I slept longer than the previous night, so whatever. So lesson 32, I have invented the world I see. The prior days was I am not the victim of the world I see. And then the one for I'm reflecting on now, I have invented the world I see. I want to read this first paragraph to put it in context. Today we are continuing to develop the theme of cause and effect. You are not the victim of the world you see because you invented it. You can give it up as easily as you made it up. You will see it or not see it as you wish. While you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. Oh my God. I have been experiencing that very thing with my healing journey, whatever you want to call this thing that I'm doing. It's all been about release. Every time I keep going back to that friggin' tripod. It's fascinating. It's like a duh moment, like, duh, that's how it works. But for me, that's how it works for me. I have to desire that change, of course. And then I have to be committed to it, of course. And then the magic part of it is it's not in my whole life, it's been like a doing of something. No, that's never worked for me. It's the release. It's the surrender, saying, okay, I desire it. I'm committed for this change to happen, and now I surrender it. Like, surrender the how, surrender the doing. Just like it's in your hands now. It's God, source, universe, spirit, higher self, intuition, whatever you want to call your surrendering to. It's beyond my physical doing of the thing to make it happen. Jeez Louise. I'm 47. Could it have happened a little sooner in life? No, because then I wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I do. What's weird, or not, I guess, I just did a morning voice journaling, and what came up, I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. And what came out was this deep healing through somatic experiencing that I didn't even know I was going to do about the doing of things. Like, there was so much grief. There still is. There's more to come out. It's not always a one and done, especially something that goes this deep. For me, it was ancestral healing too. It was in my father's family line, this do. They're never idle, never idle, never. Do, go. What I appreciate about that, they have so much vitality, just so much. I'm like, it has infused me with this, I can feel it. I just have so much vitality, and I don't take that for granted, especially now working with clients. I see day in, day out where that is lacking. And yeah, of course I have my days where I'm like, I don't want to do anything. Yesterday was one of them. I had less vitality because I woke up at 2 a.m., used it all up in the first half of the day, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lie here now. It's a small example, but a lot of people just don't have it at all in their life. And so I don't take this for granted. I really value parts of it, but where it became toxic in my life, it was toxic. It was like a distraction from things I really could have been looking at. It was a distraction from harm I was doing that now I'm having to heal from. But I'm grateful for this journey, that's for sure. So yeah, I wouldn't change it now, of course. Except for maybe the parts where I harmed other people with it. Yeah, that feels gross. So I'm going to heal that too. But there was a deep release happening during that voice journaling that I had to say, okay, I'm going to go now and do more of this on my own. I didn't know it was going to go there. And it was grief. I had no idea I had all this grief associated with this this feeling like I had to do, like this feeling of like go, 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 do, push, 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 was forced upon me in my childhood. Like on my father's side, like they just have so much vitality. They go, 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 push, do, and they've done great things with that energy. They've helped people. They all run like excavation businesses and trucking, and they put in people's septic systems, and they build foundations for houses, and they do hard work for people. They are hard workers. They dig. They're diggers. Moving the earth, literally. Like, I'm not discounting the good parts of this vitality at all. And yet, the way it became toxic in the family life was we were made to feel lazy if we weren't doing something. There was no time to just, I shouldn't say no, there were definitely times. Even with my father, when we spent time with him, there were still times, thank God for my stepmom, thank God for my stepmom, to balance that out. Oh, and she did. She made sure we had fun and that we could be kids. And I'm crying because I love her so much for that. For her whole self, she's amazing. She passed. That's why I'm crying. She's no longer with us. I've already done a video before I even came here about those amazing women in my life, her being one of them. I'm so grateful for what she brought to my childhood, because it could have gone real dark. It could have gone real dark without her presence. I know that. And so, and not to say that my father couldn't have fun, because I have memories of him having fun with us. He bought us this little motorcycle, like the smallest kind, and taught us how to ride it, and I could tell he was having fun with it, and he would have us on the seat in front of him. Or, you know, like, they're good memories. And yet, the toxic part of that vitality was making the people around him, and I'm sure he got it from his dad, my grandpa, same traits. Like, we were just made to feel guilty for having some downtime sometimes. Like that word lazy, and then that translated from me doing that to other people around me. Like, why aren't they doing anything? Like, they're wasting time, they're being lazy, blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, did that not translate to my work as a project manager? Why did I feel the need to be leading ginormous projects where I'm like moving mountains, literally making stuff happen in a shorter time frame that needed sometimes a year longer to complete. Like, why was I doing that to my team members? Even to my clients who thought they wanted it. It was pushing them. I was pushing everybody. Go, go, go. Gotta get this done. Here, I'll lead by example. Thinking that was a good trait. Like, I'm not gonna let you guys have to do all the work. I'll do it too. Yeah. Funny how things translate into different areas of our lives. So, I had no idea this was going to happen either. I have invented the world I see. I invented when I looked out of these eyeballs and saw people being lazy. Was I not envious or what on the inside? I invented that world. Anytime I would look out and see, like, why aren't they doing anything? Why aren't they pulling their weight? I hear the fire clicker going off. There should be fluid still left in it. I just used it to light the flame to warm up my coffee. So anyway, yeah, I've invented the world I see. Now when I look out and see people being idle, I'm like, yeah, this is also a period of time calling for rest. Like the outside world wants us to push so hard. And I heard it a lot post-COVID when, you know, that quote-unquote, here I'll give you some air quotes, quote-unquote, mass resignation happened, where people were finally like, oh, wait, I don't have to push so hard. That's when I quit my old job, my old life, at the end of 2020. I was like, yeah, I'm burnt out. I finally got to not fly on a plane for a whole year. I don't want to go back to that. I'm done. I was on a plane like every other week. I thought it was fun for a while. I was deluding myself after a point in time. It became not fun, but I'm like, it's still fun, guys. Anyway, so yeah, I have invented the world I see. And that mass resignation, what I started to hear from business owners was, nobody wants to work. They're so entitled. The government's just handing out money. Of course they don't want to work. They're just sitting around being lazy, blah, blah, blah. Well, part of me was like gonna say, unfortunately, I didn't get any of that money. But that's okay. It went to people who needed it more. I could use some now, though, universe. But anyway, at the time, I had just come out of my career, so I had some savings. And I was like, yeah, I don't need it. It can go to, I had no feelings about it at the time, actually. I was like, it didn't bother. I was like happy that people were getting support when they needed it. And then the business owners were like, they're just getting my free money and sitting around being lazy. Nobody wants to work. Like, I can't find any good employees. And the ones that come quit after a day. Well, yeah, we're not going to put up with any of your crap anymore, business owners. Yeah, you've got to adjust to us now. We've adjusted to you for far too long. You've taken away well, some people have literally taken away rights. And some people just expect us to move mountains for you for very little pay. So, yeah, I'm kind of done with that. There's, again, this whole equilibrium thing. Things are like, here's this motion of a wave, like sand settling to the bottom of an ocean. We've all been stirred up far too long, and it's like we're finding where we want to settle. And for me, I was like, yeah, I was burnt out. I didn't want to push anymore. I have my own healing to do. I'm still obviously doing it 5 years later. Isn't that crazy? Things aren't so quick with me. I heal layers of it, and I'm like, oh, that feels good. Wait a while, and I'm over here healing something else, and then it's like, we're right back to it. The grief that came, the grief was so deep for that. Not like it was a loss of childhood, a loss of play and timeless exploration. Like, I was so time bound because of what was put upon us, that expectation of we've got to make every minute, we've got to be doing something productive. Like, we were friggin' kids. Now, my father might have a different perspective, but if he's real honest with himself and he thinks back to when he was in his 30s, this will resonate, I'm sure. When I was in my 30s, oh my God, if I was raising kids, I probably would have put that right back on them. So, Dad, it's not your fault if someday you ever watch this. I'm sure your dad did it to you at a much younger age. Yeah, and then you went in the military, didn't you? And then they put that on you. So, it's not your fault. Anyway, yeah, what I'm saying is there's no blame. I'm just healing from the grief of lost portions of childhood. And not just that, it's like lost portions of all of my adulthood where I could have been enjoying more, just like timeless exploration. That time-bound theme keeps coming up for me. I've been so time-bound. But all of that, when I reflect back on all of that, I have invented the world I see. And it's like, when you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. And that's that surrender part that I was talking about in the beginning. Like that, I've got to desire it. I've got to not want that anymore. The desire is there to release it. I'm committed to releasing it. I'm committed. When I talk about or think about release, hold on, I need a drink. Still a hair too hot. So when I think about the desire to release something and what the commitment means to me, the commitment, you might think, well, that's just like desire, like you want it. No, commitment means to me the practice of returning as long as it takes over and over again to look at the thing, to examine it, to anchor back into that desire. That's commitment to me. Like it might fade throughout a day and then nope, I'm right back to it. I'm committed to this. See, I'm showing you. I'm showing up again. Right here to look at it. So that's how I feel that those are two different things. Desire and commitment. And then surrender. So when I no longer want it and desire it, and then I keep returning to say, yeah, I no longer want this. And then surrender it. And sometimes I have to return to the surrender and surrender it some more. Like, take it from me. I don't care how it gets done. I just want it done. I'm surrendering the how, which means I'm surrendering the doing part of it. So I love that it said that while you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. It will not be there for you to see because I've given it away. The universe has taken it from me. And then someday I might look around and be like, yeah, where is that thing? Oh, it's not there for me to see. I surrendered it. The universe did its magic. God did its magic. But it only did that because I had the desire and I was committed and I surrendered. It can be as simple as that. And I didn't realize that when people used to talk about surrender and I'm like, What? Oh, this is related. Oh my God. I was like, you're just giving up. You can call it what you want. You're just giving up. Quitter. See how toxic that do, go, 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 push, push, push is? It's so toxic. I looked out of my eyes thinking people were just, I saw laziness. I saw giving up. I saw quitting. But that was from my own hurt. I looked at my heart. It was from my own grief, from my loss of childhood, from my loss of moments throughout my life. I've lost so many moments to that. It hurts me. I'm still crying from it. There's obviously more for me to do here, which means not doing anything except surrender. Yeah, I'm committed to this one for sure. I want it gone. I want it gone. I don't want to look out and see quitting. I feel a lump in my throat. Thankfully, when I look out, I don't see that anymore. So I know what's coming out now, or probably the trail end, however long that trail is. The trail could be a long trail. The trail end of this healing is like the release. Feels so good. When I look out and I see people relaxing, now I go, oh my God, yes, do more of that. Let me lay down next to you and relax. So luckily now I recognize it for what it is. I see it now. And I'm like, yeah, do that. But that hasn't been very long that I've had that feeling. I think this place has helped, this little beach town, these last 2 years. I don't think it's helped. I know it's helped. Because even just when I reflected on, oh my God, this town has been my healing. It's such a small town. It's like a couple blocks, it's so small. And you can walk loops around town. And I have. Yesterday, I was reflecting on this in my morning voice journal. I would do something and be like, okay, I don't want to be at home inside. I want to go out. I want to walk some more. I want to, be in nature. I want to walk. I want to explore. I go out. It's too hot. The world kept saying it's too hot. Go rest. It's too hot. You'll get burnt. Go rest. And I kept going out and going out. And I was tired. I hadn't slept either. And the world's saying rest. You're fatigued. And finally I did. And I laid in bed like 12 hours. And it was wonderful. And I've already heard messages coming in saying it's a time of rest for me because of my nature that I've had my whole life that stems from this childhood harm. And it's a time of rest and stillness and peace for me, thankfully. It's why I'm giving so much time to this practice right here. And because if I just filled up my days, filled up my time, I'd have no time for this important stuff. It's important to me, this healing. So I'm grateful for this time that's blossomed in my life. In my old world of consulting, I wouldn't have time. There was no time. I filled up every ounce of my time. I overfilled it. It was jam-packed, and I look back and I'm like, how did I get all of that done? the words get it done. How did I do all of that? How did I squeeze out in all of that? Well, it was at the expense of no sleep, no exercise, poor nutrition. I was literally killing my vitality. I was literally killing myself. Literally. Lack of sleep, lack of movement, lack of good nutrition, lack of relationship, lack of friendship. I was killing myself on all levels. Isn't that sad? Oh, it's tragic. Huh. It's tragic. And the stuff I still had in my life where I was involved in community stuff or social outings or this or that, I felt vapid. I felt empty. There was nothing of me to give. I felt false. I was wearing masks, which was hurting myself even more. It just goes on and on. No wonder I have so much grief related to this. I think it's a long trail. Like, even though now I see things for what they are, there's a long tail on this one. The long tail of release. Because there's a lot to release by the sounds of it, huh? Yeah, it's time. This will be, it gets me excited. It gets me so excited because over and over I've seen what's on the other side of everything. Everything I release, there's something so magically beautiful on the other side. So that's why I get excited. I don't care how long this tail is, because every little bit of it's going to be more beauty, more beauty, more beauty. Coming in, coming in, coming in. Because the beauty can't come in. There's no place for it to land if it's filled up with other crap. So I'm releasing the crap. And then it's like, come in, beauty. There's space now. Isn't it so simple? It can be so simple, yet so hard. It's hard when I'm in, what's hard for me? Hold on. I just feel like I have to name this because it's an honest look at what healing might feel like for people. You've probably felt it in your life. I have felt it countless times. The confusion, the ickiness, the icky confusion of when I'm feeling the thing that hurts so bad, when I start to feel the twinge of it that wants to make me turn and distract myself, turn to social media, turn to food, turn to binging entertainment. Sometimes you feel a twinge of grief and you're like, I need to watch a comedy right now. That's just an example. Whatever that is for you. I have plenty of my own to share if you want some ideas. And I shared some in this morning's voice journaling. So what the hard part is, like, when you can't, and speaking for myself, when I can't see my way through it, when I'm like, there's different phases of it or different angles of it, maybe different dimensions. Like, sometimes I feel the ickiness and I run right away from the ickiness. Like, what is this feeling? Like, it's so confusing. Like, I can't even name it. I just know I feel, ugh. Sometimes you don't even know. Like, I didn't even know I was feeling that. I couldn't even name the confusion, let alone name the thing. I couldn't even name that I was confused. It was just, I could feel something coming in perhaps, and then I'm like, whoop, I didn't even let it land. I was just like, distract, go, do, push, I wasn't letting anything land, but I also didn't recognize that I wasn't letting anything land. See how many dimensions there are to this? So if we take it forward, like, I didn't even know I wasn't letting anything land. Like, it wasn't even a glimpse, not even in my awareness. that was my nature. People on the outside could see it. I knew I had all this vitality. I knew that was like just me, but I didn't see it for what it was. I didn't see its toxicity. Hold on, I gotta something. There's a hair on my face, and then there's like the twinge, maybe like I feel an ickiness, like a that was a bad feeling. Distract, like it was like a touch and go. In I was taking plane flying lessons, flight lessons, and we would do touch and goes where you take the plane down and barely touch your tires to the runway and take off again. We did a bunch of those, like over and over and over and over, and I never knew, like the instructor would never indicate when it would be our last and we would actually touch and land. It's kind of like that. Like these feelings like might give a little touch in and you're like go go go. You're like, you almost like pull the runway out in front of that plane trying to land. Like that feeling's not landing here. Nope. Distract. I'm often doing something else. So there's the recognition of an icky feeling, maybe. Or there's the recognition of confusion, like, because confusion can feel icky, like, oh, I'm feeling, like maybe you even start to try to name it, like the confusion sets in. There's a little more space to even be confused. Like I feel something icky, but I'm confused. I don't even know what it is. I have no idea. And then it takes off again. So it was a little bit longer of a touch and go. Like I have to distract myself. I don't like confusion. Like, icky. I'm gonna go watch a comedy. You know, these are just examples of what it might feel like. I'm naming it because it's so human. It's so human. We don't want to let ickiness land. And then at some point we start to have more capacity, more and more capacity, the more desire. It comes from desire. Like this feeling is trying to land, like what is this? I want to figure it out, you know? You might not like what's on the other side of it initially, but it's like at least the confusion or that touch and go over and over might be a saying. The universe is like, pay attention, pay attention. And then you're like, okay, universe, I want to. You finally have the desire, like I want to figure this out. And then it starts to create more space, the desire. And then once you can like I feel like once I started to have the desire, things really started to happen. But it took a lot of bouts, a lot of years. I don't even know, my God, I don't even know how many years of like not even knowing there was stuff to heal. Like this was not even a conversation back in the day. That's how old I am. Back in the day, like this was not even a conversation. So yeah, it took a long time to get here, and there's still so much more to heal. And I feel like now, because I recognize that desire is the entry point, especially when if I'm not recognizing something, but I'll recognize like repetition, like oh, I felt that, whatever that twinge was a few times pretty recently. What is that? You know, whatever it takes to start the recognition. And then the desire starts to come more readily. Like I'm ready for this because I've tried it. I've seen what's on the other side. I know it's not as scary as I might have thought it was in the past if I just look at it. The scary part's when I turn away from it and I don't even know what's like lurking back there. But if I look at it, I'm like, oh, it might feel painful as it moves through the body, but it's trying to find, this is the somatic experiencing piece, it's trying to find the path of least resistance out of the body. Earlier, when I kind of narrated in my voice journal, I had no idea this was going to happen. The path it took was like it landed somewhere in my solar plexus. Oh my God, I'm just now relating it to the solar plexus. That's that willpower part of me. Oh my God. Sorry, I've got to do I got to go feel into this after I'm done here. That was huge for me, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but the solar plexus for me, that's that sense of my willpower out in the world, my sense of action and self. That's what I'm healing, the solar plexus. And the path of least resistance was to come up through the heart space and feel the grief and feel how it moved through my throat chakra, because it had stifled my creative expression, myself, my truth, my self-expression, and it came out through my breath and my eyeballs in the form of tears and release. Yeah. That was the path of least resistance when I was finally ready to look at it and give it away out. Like I'm ready to release it and I surrender it. That's one example. That was that grief of lost childhood and the grief of the way that toxicity played out through my life and caused a lack of vitality in myself. I was killing myself on all levels, literally. I've got a lot of like physical healing to do, I feel like, to bring back that life force by resting. That's my personal journey. So I just wanted to name the confusion part, because this conversation right here won't even land, and that's okay. It's maybe not ready to, but if there's some part of you that's curious about, like, some of this resonates, put a pin in it. Just feel into the confusing parts or the icky parts and see what they tell you. And like I said in my other voice journal, sometimes it'll open a floodgate you might not be ready for. Seek a therapist first if you feel the need. If you feel a lack of capacity for everything here I just described, because it can be intense, no joke. Those floodgates might fly open. And so I was saying, like, with somatic experiencing, we need a pressure valve. We need a psh, 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 psh. We don't want things to just fly open and pour out, because that can be scary. And it might lead to us building a stronger dam. So we're pushing everything down even further, and that's not what we want. That's not why we're here. We need a little psh, psh, psh. I won't go into all the somatic experiencing, like, jargon, but that's definitely a consideration, like making sure you have the nervous system capacity to do the work. And that starts with just looking out the window maybe and being like, here, I'll do, like, oh, listen to those birds. Look at that beautiful greenery. Like, that sense of, what does it feel like in my body when I listen to the birds? Through my ear, my auditory senses. What's it feel like in my body to see those green leaves, like, so close, like comforting me right outside my bedroom window, and the way they move in the breeze? Where do I feel that in my body? And sometimes it'll bring tears of joy, and you can feel into that, and those can be healing. And like, just feel the good stuff first before maybe opening like, we don't want to open floodgates. So the psh, psh, psh is building that capacity, finding your pressure valve. Like, My pressure valve might be like, yeah, there's a lot of beauty around me. I'm not in a place of contracted fear. I'm in a place of love now. I feel like now I have some capacity to maybe feel into this grief that's showing up today, because first I recognize the beauty. I hear that bird. So, but yeah, seek help, seek a therapist. Yeah, I'll be starting to do this somatic experiencing work with clients. From day one, they told us to practice with our clients, but here I am a year later, really still doing my own healing, because it's revealing so much to me. It's not to say I've already truly grappled with that. I got to be fully healed before I can help others do their healing. No. Then we'd never do anything, because healing's a lifelong journey. It's multidimensional. It's like layers and layers and layers. You're never fully healed. You'd just like out of existence, like Jesus. Like those yogis who just sit on a mountaintop and then they poof out of existence because they're like fully enlightened, healed. No, we're human. And many of us, I'm not going to say all, but the majority of us will never fully heal and poof out of existence fully healed. We might do some amount of it here on earth, and then when we transition, we do a lot more in the afterlife. That's what all the near-death experiencers talk about, and the mediums who channel, like our loved ones, will tell us, like, I'm still doing healing over here on the other side. There's so much I'm learning, So I'm just saying, like, it's a lifelong journey. So we don't have to be fully healed to help our people do their, find their journey and support them on their path. We're here to walk each other home. So anyway, how did we get there? I have invented the world I see. This was more than a reflection on this lesson, but it's really all related, because while you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. And it all starts with that desire, that want, the no longer wanting it. And I have been not wanting this, looking out into the world I see and seeing laziness and quitting and apathy and all this. And it's like, I don't see that anymore. But first it started with a desire to no longer want to see it, because I recognized how it was false. Eventually recognized it. It's been a long journey. And now I have to continue to heal. I say have to, but I want to. That's why I say have to. It's like a deep desire. Like, that's what I'm here to do right now, is heal that long tail end of that thing from childhood that came from my family line that just sunk in deep into my life and caused so many problems. So yeah, I have a lot more to heal with that. And it's to the point now where it's like I've stopped perpetuating the behavior, or I've tried to. I'm sure it still happens. I still recognize it now immediately when it comes up, when I have expectation of somebody to like pull their weight, things like that. Like, your peers are doing it, you help them, like, you can show up in a lot of ways. But it's like, well, maybe that person didn't have the capacity to pull the quote unquote their weight, whatever that means. Like, we're not here to be equal givers. Some people, that's what they have to give, and they're giving it. It's not equal to yours, and that's fine. So there's a lot here, guys, for me. So that's it. Lesson 32. I'm going to put a stop to this. I've kept you here long enough, if you've hung in this far. If you want to do a one-on-one somatic experiencing session with me, please reach out. I would be first of all, humbled and honored to help you in your journey in any little way possible, because I truly believe this modality is it's powerful. It's all nervous system regulation. Take it back to science. It's not woo-woo. It's based in science. A doctor like spearheaded it, and there's just people are doing it all around the world. Like somatics is like this trend now, but it came out of this deep research of like nervous system regulation. Like it's so basic. And if you want to do that together, we could do a little practice session and just see what comes up for you, like how you could use it in your own journey. So anyway, yeah, bye.